I guess one night stands, no intention of like a long-term relationship.
I guess it's really just like meeting people through apps, or maybe not through apps, but really just like a one-time deal, like not really seeing each other more than once.
Well, generally just people who meet and then get together right away without really spending some time dating first.
Meetings, like the hookup culture is sort of like rather than going out and like meeting people and talking to them, you make out first and then later find out if you like each other, which I think is like kind of a new thing.
Okay, it's like applauded.
Exactly. Yeah, like going off that, like I feel like people will go out every night and expect like they can find someone to hook up with, whether it's like casually or like someone they've been hooking up with.
And you don't have to know them.
Yeah, it's completely different.
Hookup culture is a combination of drinking, going out, usually among college students, a lot of intercourse happening, a lot of canoodling. Very prevalent at the University of Maryland.
That involves, guys, girls, and everyone in between, just getting with each other and doing stuff to each other.
I don't know. It really kind of varies in college. I think like now it's mostly like going to hook up like after like a party would be like having sex. It could mean a various other things to a lot of different people.
Hookup is when you meet someone out and then you would go home with them and do sexual stuff. I don't know.
I define a hookup as anything from making out to sex.
A hookup can be defined, like for instance in high school, a hookup was defined as like, oh, like, you made out with someone. But as you get older, a hookup can more be defined as that you slept with someone. So it kind of changes based on wherever you are in life, so.
I'm not really sure. I think having sex is
Hookup is when you just meet someone out and, bring them back and have sex.
I think a hookup depends on the context. If you're like hooking up at a party, you're making out, but if you like, oh, I hooked up with him, it could mean sex, but it really depends on the situation. Like I say like, oh, he hooked up with her or they hooked up, like I would think of making out, but it can be sex too.
Like regret?
Yeah, maybe you're like lonely for like
I feel like girls get more insecure because they never know if someone's hooking up with other people.
Yeah.
Hookup culture can bring a lot of mental games into play, as it's a struggle for one side or another to assert their dominance and decide where they're going on the night. And sometimes there can be mental games go on for a long time afterwards, as people don't know where they left off and what they are considered to one or the other party. So I would say that overall there's a lot of mental issues going on once hookup culture is initiated.
I think it's pretty unhealthy for one's mental state, because I think naturally girls tend to catch feelings quicker but then may lose them later, and guys tend to develop them later. So it just like people's feelings like pass each other, or it's like this game of like who cares less, and like people think way too much about like, oh my god, like can I text him this, like should I text her this? It's just like unhealthfully like making people overthink about communication. And
I definitely have friends that I think it has like a negative impact, like the prevalence of hooking up and like how casual it is. I think like I've seen people get really hurt by it because the lines are always so blurred. So I think that probably has like negative impacts on people's self-esteem and like confidence. But I also think that it can, like on the flip side of that, it can be a confidence booster, because we're so fluid with our relationships, like you can meet a lot of people and like get to know people well, and like that could make you feel better about yourself.
In terms of psychological effects, I think that it really depends on the outcome of the hookup. Whether it's like if it's just a one-night stand and you never talk to them again, or if you like continue to talk to them, or if you end up like being exclusive or dating them.
I think hookup culture has probably made college dating a little less common. I feel like people still definitely do date, but hooking up is now a much bigger part of dating, and that is a much longer period that you kind of stay in with a person before you may or may not date.
There's no dating scene on the college campuses because I feel like it's just so much of a hookup culture. But I mean, there is obviously dating, but like people don't take it as seriously because they're like, I'm not gonna see this person in 2 years. I'm not gonna see this person in a week. So they kind of think that like, if I hook up with them once, I'm never gonna have to see them again. And it's just kind of like, it deteriorates what a real relationship kind of is because no one wants to appreciate what a relationship is. Not no one, but like a lot of people who participate in the hookup culture don't want to appreciate what the relationship is. So it's like nobody can have those feelings. Nobody wants to work towards that feelings because they don't think that it's necessary in this college setting. They want to have fun and that's it.
Dating in college, unless you're actually like in a relationship with someone, is almost non-existent. I feel like it's very rare you see someone go up to someone and be like, hey, let's go on a date. You know, that doesn't happen anymore.
Oh, I think it affects it incredibly. I think that more people hook up with other people than they are in relationships. I mean, there are couples in college, but I think it's more common to have like a hookup buddy or someone like you're just having casual sex with than being in a relationship.
Okay, so when people go out and they get a few drinks in them, they're a little more confident. So I'd say they are easier to take home than.
I think that alcohol and hookups have a positive correlation. I think that it definitely increases it and it gives people more confidence to hook up.
It plays a major part in hookup culture. Like, usually hookup culture is like, oh, you're out, like you're feeling a little more frisky when you have some drinks in you and you.
I think at least among college-age children, like alcohol is probably the fueling factor.
Alcohol is paramount to hookup culture in college. Without it, you know, people are just socially awkward. But once they get past that and graduate college, like, best of luck to them.
I can imagine, but I don't know of anyone that's ever been sexually assaulted. I don't really, but I know that people have been on campus, so I'm sure that some guys think they're hooking up with girls and girls are too drunk or something and probably can say that they've been sexually assaulted because of that.
Yeah, I think it definitely plays a role. I think especially when alcohol is involved, like people do things that they might necessarily not want to do and don't know how to say no. So I think that the lines are definitely blurred, and yes, it plays a big part of campuses.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
The hookup culture is so kind of pushed onto people that if you're in a situation where the opportunity is presented to you, even if you don't personally want it, you won't say that to anyone, I think, because people kind of expect you to follow through with it. So the expectation kind of overrides what you personally want to do, which can contribute, I think, a lot to sexual assault.
But I think the fact that like if you're a part of the hookup culture, you're not taking these kind of things seriously, and like there's a lot of alcohol and drugs related to it where it's like in these settings it could kind of lead to sexual assault. But I don't think necessarily like the hookup culture, like if you're a part of the hookup culture, you're getting sexually assaulted. So I think that it's like more of like it can happen if people aren't taking like themselves seriously and aren't taking relationships like that seriously because they might not know what's going on. But I think that I think that's really all I have. I couldn't remember what I was going to say.
Doesn't do any harm, but I hope, but I'm sure it does, but I hope it doesn't.
I don't know that the campus environment necessarily does, but I think developmentally where we're at, like living on our own for the first time in college gives us a lot of autonomy. So I think that people like take that opportunity to experiment with a lot of different things. So like, I guess if you're somebody who's not sexually active and that's like something that a lot of your friends are exploring, like with the new sense of like self-control, that for people that it's not something that they're comfortable with, it can probably be a pretty like uncomfortable situation for them.
The campus environment, I don't know. I mean, I think the more of like the, I guess, party environment, whether you're a part of, you know, a club or a Greek fraternity or sorority, I think that the smaller circles. I don't think it's the campus as a whole.
It's a big role. I think that especially when a lot of your friends are participating in hookup culture, it makes you want to participate in hookup culture too. And I think girls especially, and guys actually, we all talk about sex all the time, and I think it plays a huge role in like your social life in college.
I definitely think yes. I mean, I've seen people who have not been tempted as much and been able to do it through college, but I know that it's definitely a big factor for a lot of different people who are like who maybe have never had sex when they came into college and felt pressured that they need to because everybody already has or everybody already is constantly. And
I feel like a lot of people come into college and with the mentality that like, if everyone else is doing it, like there's something else that I'm missing and that I should be doing it too. So like if you go around and you think everybody else is hooking up with other people, then you're gonna be like, oh, I need to go out and hook up with as many people as I can too.
So what is hookup culture? According to the Love and Fidelity Network, a hookup refers to any sexual encounter, from kissing to sex, that is meant to be casual and occur outside of a relationship with no intentions of commitment. Hookup culture refers to the set of attitudes, behaviors, and beliefs that accept and promote casual sexual interactions, such as hookups.
Despite how many college students think that hooking up typically could have negative psychological effects, one study actually showed that both men and women appear to have a higher positive effect than negative effect after a hookup. And actually, 82% of men and 57% of women were asked the next morning if they regretted the decision, and they didn't.
When college students look around and see the prevalence of hooking up among their peers, they may not be taking proper care to protect themselves against sexually transmitted infections. According to a 2009 study by Downing, Mattebag, and Geisinger, nearly half of 71 college students in a study said they were not concerned about contracting STIs from intercourse during a hookup. Luis and co-researchers found in 2011 that in a sample of more than 1,400 college students, only 46.6% reported using a condom in their most recent hookup involving oral or anal sex or vaginal intercourse. And according to a 2010 study by Page, people who hook up are also more likely to have concurrent sexual partners, suggesting that monogamy has become less common in this culture where hookups are becoming more prevalent.
According to Psychology Today, alcohol plays a central role in hookup culture. Many students admitted to purposely getting drunk in order to lower their inhibitions so that they can bring themselves to perform behaviors they wouldn't otherwise feel comfortable with.
Studies show, according to CNN, that there is a relationship between stigmatization of sexual behavior and sexual disempowerment for young people. Young adults feel judged for past sexual behavior, thus they may have trouble expressing their desires and setting limits with future partners, which unfortunately can lead to sexual assault.
So, according to a recent review of sexual hookup culture done by Chris Reber, Justin Garcia, Sean Massey, and Ann Merriweather, they found that between 60 and 80% of American college students had had one or more previous sexual hookup experiences. So I think that this aligns with the idea that college is an age of exploration and emerging adulthood. So I think the combination of a lot of people around you hooking up and also having a lot more extra freedom, there is this pressure to be sexually active.